7:01, let's call the meeting to order. Michelle, will you read the sunshine law notice?
This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Keyport, Tuesday, August 15th, 2023. Let the minutes show that adequate notice of this meeting, as required by Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, has been provided by a meeting notice which has been posted on the bulletin boards filed with the Borough Clerk and has been sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger.
Thank you. Michelle, will you do the roll call?
Councilmember Demarest.
Present.
Councilmember Riley.
Here.
Councilmember Vecchio.
Here.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Here.
Councilmember McNamara.
Here.
Council President Davidson. And Mayor Aranio.
Here.
Thank you.
Will everybody join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'm going to start with our committee reports. Councilmember Demarest.
Yes, there's been some talk about the KBBC and some things that we're doing that will come to fruition, I believe, very shortly. And once it does, obviously, the public will be aware of that and will be able to understand why things were done and how things were done. As far as the KBBC Thursday night, there's a light at the bay. You're more than welcome to come. It's at 6 o'clock. Come on out and support it. And there's some other things going on, obviously, in the calendar of events that you'll see. Our mayor is also the president, just so you know. And so maybe, don't start breathing heavy. Our mayor is also the president. And as Mr. Graham Ellery puts it, not a mayor. She's also a president. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Mayor. So the fire department had a very successful fireman's fair. I want to thank you for all the volunteers and our police department for doing such an outstanding job. I had a great time, so did my kids and my husband. The Environmental Commission is looking for updates on a few projects. I'm sure I'm going to get some from the engineer this evening. They also were mentioning planting native plants and Keyport open space property. So they're hoping to get the Borough Council and Mayor's opinion on this. And then they'll need a list of open space inventory locations. They're also looking for updates on Veterans Park drainage and a spotted fly grant request, especially the possibility of removing invasive ailanthus trees at the Cedar Street Park Woods area.
She has on the drainage. What are they talking about?
Veterans Park drainage letter was submitted on 5/24/23. The Keyport Environmental Commission needs DPW support to help straighten out the drainage path from the Veterans Park storm drain and to fill the hole that is present at the drain.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Vecchio.
Thank you, Mayor. For Municipal Alliance, our most recent meeting was this past Thursday. Some items discussed were that we would like to move forward with council looking at a possible town ordinance that would address stores, both smoke shops and other, that have advertising of vape items heavily in their windows or display shelves in front of their windows. They believed that this was something that already existed, but it has come to their attention that it actually doesn't exist at the moment. The Spring Red Raider Night was a success, so that is looking to be held again in the fall, tentatively for October 12th. And Municipal Alliance is again looking to take part in either do the same idea with the kites that they did last time, which was a success, or to possibly have a different item. And August 31st is International Overdose Awareness Day, and they are looking to possibly put something together for that. Harbor Commission, we met last night. And dredging is still soliciting bids. There are problems with the outfall pipe being silted, in which it is unrelated to the boat ramp but needs attention and might be piggybacked together with the ramp from an equipment standpoint. Unfortunately for the pump out boat, that is not looking to be something that we are going to get this year. Keyport Yacht Club has approved moving forward with a grant application for the construction of a pump out station at the end of the Keyport Yacht Club dock. The membership approved an expenditure of up to $40,000 if reimbursed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Shore Protections Grant Program. It would be open to the public, but all details on that would be forthcoming because they still have to meet regarding that. The railings are still an issue, but they have four items that they're looking to try. They're hoping to have that completed by either end of fall, early, late winter. And the snapper contest is Saturday, September 16th. Keyport Waterfront, 10 a.m. to noon. Registration begins at 9. The age groups are 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. There's no rain date, it's free, and we're hoping that everyone can attend. And for the police report, I'll pass that to the chief when she gives her report later.
Thank you. Councilmember Pepperoni?
Thank you. For Board of Health, we collected $2,100 for the month of July for rec. So there's one movie left, August 23rd, Rise of the Group. Nancy Jones reports that we have 100 runners to date for the 5K. We also ordered 500 shirts and goodie bags to hand out the day of the race. And pre-race packet pickups will be September 22nd at 7 p.m. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilmember McNamara?
Finance and grants, as Councilmember Riley mentioned, we applied for the New Jersey Department of Agriculture $15,000, I guess it's a reimbursement-based grant. RBA handled that, and we applied and got a letter of approval, so waiting for more information on that. And I had the same concerns from some residents, and that was that area by Cedar Street where it's just full of Atlantis trees. The other thing that we're having conversations starting now on is the New Jersey DOT 2024 Safe Routes to School Grant Program. So there have been things on Broad Street, and I think by St. Peter's and St. George, a couple different locations through the years. There's information sessions in early September and October to go over the funding. That is federal funding. For me, I don't know if it's ever been discussed before, but I did start with Trevor, just kind of putting out there Maple Place. It is not a safe sidewalk. Any of the kids that live on that side of our borough trying to cross Maple Place, it's asphalt, it's tilted, there's no curb, and it's only on one side. So I don't know if there's a way to get the county to participate with that. Maybe that's an idea. Cannabis. The judge still has not issued their decision on the KG&J lawsuit. And as stated last time, the Green and Gold trial is currently scheduled for September 29th. That had been originally scheduled for July 6th. The Green Team, well, we're working with a very small team this year. We are working on a big plan for 2024. So sparked by Sustainable Jersey action items relating to natural resources, wildlife interaction plan, and community education and outreach. Working on a 2024 speaker series to help inform recent and longtime residents about the Red Day. So topics will cover history, wildlife, present activity in the bay and the shores. We've already had some conversation with the library to get some participation from them as well at the site there, and potentially with a story walk again like they did this year. And with the county bringing in the Nature on the Move band. So next year, we're going to really try to embrace the bay, and we really hope that people participate. NPP. There are 2 resolutions on tonight's agenda relating to the Year 3 implementation plans for Mini Park and Beach Park. The NPP ARP grant request is still waiting. We're still uncertain on the timing. Nicole Henn submitted her resignation as the NPP coordinator effective September 10th. She's already begun preparing the Year 4 plan and budget, which will most likely be due in either October or November. So I do hope that people will join me in expressing their appreciation when you see Nicole for her detailed work over the past years. Certainly those projects have enhanced our community. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Council President Davidson is out. Did she leave a report? No. Okay. One thing I wanted to ask, on Maple Place, you know the bridge that kind of sinks in the ground all the ways down? What is that called? The Moss Bridge? Is there, like, we should check with county on that, because it seems like it's getting worse and worse over the years.
I have a meeting with the engineer Friday, that's with county, and we can bring it up.
That's the exact area where I'm talking about the
Yeah,
sidewalk issue.
because now it's getting, it's like pretty low. I mean,
growing up here, we already know that's been sinking year over year. Okay. I met with the redevelopment committee, business administrators, and attorneys to discuss pilot analysis. We have brought on a company to go through the numbers and to prepare, this is for Mariners Village, and their findings, that we actually have their findings, so now we're just going to start reviewing and going through them. We had one meeting with Elizabeth Parchman, or I actually did, I don't think you were able to attend that one, regarding Film Ready certification for Keyport. It's a 5-step program that educates the municipalities on the basics of motion picture and TV production in town. And since Fort Monmouth now has Netflix, they're going to start looking at different areas for films and what they wanted to do. We have completed our first 2 steps of our certification process, which was attending the meeting in June at Count Basie, and the second step of the one-on-one meeting. And there's 3 additional steps to complete, and I'll be working with Kim to complete that. This will allow New Jersey Motion Picture and TV Commission to focus on municipalities such as Keyport in Monmouth County to embrace filmmakers and reap the benefits when the production crews do come in. We actually have to also revisit our ordinance because our ordinance, I think, is quite low for that. KBDC, as Councilmember Demarest stated, we had a special meeting, so as the president of the board resigned, the meeting was to vote in a new president, which I was voted in as the president. We also had a resignation that evening. KBDC meeting, we approved by resolution $35,000 for the mini park improvements. This is for the pavers and the concrete. We also approved a resolution authorizing the KBDC to accept electronic payments for events via credit cards and EFTs. We're looking to hire a temporary office manager, admin person, I'm not sure the title they're actually calling it. From August through December this year, we also accepted the resignation of another board member, letting all know that Light Up the Bay is on the 17th and the rain date will be August 31st. We have a band that starts at 6 in the gazebo. We actually moved it down to the gazebo since it is Light Up the Bay. There's going to be light entertainers at 7 p.m. The Keyport Princess boat will be lit up to take passengers out to the yacht club to see all the other boats that are lit up. Sharky and Baby Shark will also be there to take pictures. Looking forward to seeing everybody that evening. Library board meeting. The air conditioning unit, condenser, and the air handler had both decided to go out on the library. Both of these are necessary to have the air conditioning functioning in the library. The librarian received 3 quotes, for a librarian director, I should state. And the borough is paying for the condenser. The library will be paying for the air handler. The condenser cost is $6,075. The Friends of the Library has purchased a chair and ottoman for the teen room, approximately $2,700. And I want to thank the Friends of the Library for continuing to fundraise for the library. Library volunteer Tom Hendrickson has completed many building maintenance tasks, and I want to thank him because he's done a lot in the library that maybe nobody knows that what's happening, but the doors and the painting, and he put up a picture rail, which I think they waited a long time for. Finally, the Fireman's Fair was well attended each night, including the night that we had a little rain. I want to say thank you to Dave Olson and our fire chiefs, Keyport Volunteer Fire Department, First Aid, Ladies Auxiliary, and the many, many volunteers for all the hard work they put in each and every day at the fair. I'd like to thank the fair committee members that made sure every detail was met, and to thank our chief of police, police department for keeping the eyes and ears on the pulse of the town, as well as our DPW. It takes everyone working and coordinating together to make the fair run smoothly. And that's all I have. Okay, before we open to the public, do we have any member of the governing body that has any questions or anything they would like to be tabled or pulled to the consent agenda?
Resolution 248 with the Labor Council Service. So that's a 150% increase I know with the cannabis, it's a 40% increase, and there was a letter from the attorney explaining, the status of what's going on with their work on that. I was just wondering if we had gotten anything like that in terms of the Labor Council, or the specific things that are causing a 150% increase?
Kim, can you answer that?
Yeah, sure. We have multiple grievances that are actually going to take, one went to FERC already, and the attorney has to represent for those court hearings. There's also union negotiations for the two unions up this year. So this is, even the amount that we're paying isn't a lot in comparison to the work that we have to get done.
Okay, I know we had done a lot of negotiations in the last couple of years, so I just...
All of your contracts expire December 31st this year, except PPA. PPA, we're not even signed yet.
What we had done...
You did MOAs.
The employees and stuff, maybe that was just something different, that was a salary update? Okay. Then on the neighborhood preservation, I saw in the notes that Nicole had mentioned with the mini park, that one of the things there that they can't pay for are the repair of the steps, and there's those couple of steps that always come loose, I think at 2 different levels. A big accident waiting to happen, but NPP funds can't be used with that.
Right.
Do we have a plan? I think it's like $4,500. Is anybody? Is that
Nicole
falling
was going to
somewhere?
come speak to me about what the cost was going to be, and then we're going to see with the CFO to make sure what we have, where we have it.
Okay, because I know we got the money from KBBC, so
Well,
just want to make
Well,
sure.
that's-
yeah, on the KBBC, we actually did mention, but we asked Nicole for quotes on that.
Gotcha.
So, not saying that they're gonna approve it, but it is something that we asked for the quote.
And I'm assuming that 252, the law and public safety communities grant, that's for the police, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the commodity resale agreement,
What, resolution?
253.
Okay.
So I would imagine, obviously that's economy of scale kind of thing, but, and it doesn't tie us in, and it looks like it's more
Does
like
not, it's
supplies.
an agreement that you do every 5 years, it expires, so it will be expiring at the end of this year. So these are things that, like your salt for the storms, we can get it at the county pricing, being that they buy in bulk, we get a much better price for it.
Okay, and I'm assuming on stuff like that, that every so often we just check fair market prices on things anyway, we don't,
Yeah,
if
I
we're
require
involved in these
pretty close.
agreements. I know we're not committed to them, but I just would want to make sure that every so often we're just, not just taking a price because we're close, okay. And if somebody could give me a little bit of explanation, because this is the first time I'm seeing it on the resolutions, non-fair and open contract versus the fair and open contract. So I did a little reading, but I would love, like, Reader's Digest condensed version.
So if you go out, do you want me to get Vicki?
No, you do it.
Okay. So fair and open is when you go ahead, you post in the paper, and you get RFPs and proposals from professionals. If you do non-fair and open, you still will get proposals, ask for quotes. The only difference is that they're actually not allowed to make political contributions for the next year.
At all, or just not?
Actually, non-fair and open is more fair and
But, yeah.
I thought it was just not over 300. Is what I thought.
whatever your ordinance is.
Okay.
299 we changed it.
No, we just changed all the laws.
Right, the laws
Yeah.
just changed this week.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the titles, and every time I type it, I tell you, I have to check it. It's so, it doesn't make sense, but it's right.
Okay.
I know.
Double checking.
Fair and open, not fair and open.
And the roof repairs, I know that gentleman was here at the workshop and did his presentation. I'm just curious that our engineers are on board with and comfortable with what was presented with the roofing for the police and...
Well, as far as the reputation of San Marino Architects, we
Mhm.
worked with them, my firm. We recently acquired an architectural firm, but San Marino is well established. They're just opening up the Highlandsboro Hall that he did in Seabright, so he's got a good track record.
Okay, and you looked at the stuff that he looked at too, and you kind of think what he's proposing makes sense?
What, I didn't look at their actual reports. CME had done that in the spring, I believe. That was a carryover. So they had done the initial review back in May 3rd.
The review of the architect, not all the prior agreement, not all the prior estimates, right?
I didn't ask.
You're asking if I approved the I did
No,
not
no, no,
review
you're
the
saying
architect's
CMA?
proposal.
Did CMA look
Look
at
at-
stuff from the architect before, or
The
just
arch-
all these prior plans?
The architect's proposal was a standalone proposal that went directly to the borough as a request based on previous reports done by CME and the other 6 or 7.
Mhm.
So I was not involved in that process.
Okay, so, I mean, is that something that we normally wouldn't do? Like our engineer would not look at
Well,
something
no,
that's gonna
because
cost
this
us
is only-
$500,000 or $1 million?
Yeah, so we didn't even go into a design
Okay.
phase yet.
But,
Because we have to hire the professional.
Right.
So we have to have meetings, which then the engineer will sit in and we'll go over the design together. We're not at that point, it's
Okay,
just
I
awarding
just
to the
kind of
professional.
thought before we hired somebody for $55,000 that somebody like had an opinion, but that's okay. I mean, I know he came and presented.
If it's architectural services and anything like that, and if you guys want me to review it, I could look it over. But like I said, it's a reputable firm
Okay.
that's done work in the county.
The Monmouth Telecom provision, that's not part of our freehold IT?
What resolution is that?
The 255?
Okay.
So.
56.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So,
256, yeah.
what I do is, I usually try to do an audit on utilities to see where we're at. It turns out by switching to this phone service, we'll be saving $37,791 over the next 3 years.
And that's the bondage system, or is that something else?
It
So
is the
that we're
bond
getting
system,
rid
but it's the service, it's the actual service where they handle the POS lines and such.
Okay. So 37 over
Yeah,
3 years.
it comes to like, let me just take a look here. Monthly savings of $1,049.
Okay. And the 259, it says continuation of our professional services for wireless telecommunications. So that's out of the water tower when we put the cell things on top. Is that what that's
Correct.
about? So,
This is continuing the service of FSD Enterprises because you have cell leases that are up and he needs to review them and approve them.
and I'm sorry, how long do we enter into a lease with them?
You actually let it, well, I don't want to say you, but the borough had let it expire 2 years ago. So it actually should have been renewed.
Oh, okay, because I had never seen it before, and that makes sense, because it would have come up. I don't know, just I guess in full transparency, I note that it looks like the company, I guess, is owned by Senator Declan O'Scanlan.
Mhm.
I mean, he is one of our senators, I don't know, optics always, I find interesting on stuff like that, so this would be that every time, if they found provider for us to put a thing on the water tower, then we would pay them $2,000 and then 15% of the first year. And then any existing ones that we already have a relationship with, they would just help us renew it and get 35% for the first year.
Right.
So what have we been doing the last 2 years? Did it kind of run on its own?
I believe that, I actually don't know. I think that you guys have actually been using the same company, but you just haven't been doing the resolutions.
So we don't know that for sure, though?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Can you find out for her?
Sure.
Like we actually have.
That was 259, yeah. Just a reminder on 262 with the car show coming back. I know the last time we talked about that, there was a conversation that we wanted to make sure that there would not be a farmer's market that day because they need to shut down, I think, at like noon.
We have that. Yep.
Okay, because I didn't see it and stuff, but I just want to make sure that we have that. And I think that's it. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mayor, may I, for 1 second? I just want to bring to the attention to the Township of Keyport, okay? Because it's very, very important. You hear a lot of negative stuff. Without dropping any names, because I know how sensitive that is, you should be very, very proud of your police department. Very, very proud of certain patrolmen in your police department. They handled themselves last night with the utmost respect and professionalism that you can imagine. I witnessed it firsthand. I didn't say a word. I was a fly on the wall. I just watched it. But that patrolman handled himself with the utmost professionalism. Could have flew off the wall any second, but didn't do it. Stayed calm under pressure and did his job. So you're to be very proud of that, okay? Because I saw it. The other thing I want to tell you is I ran into somebody from Matawan last night. And they said, you know what's unappreciated in Keyport? Keyport has a ton of history. A ton of history. Goes back hundreds of 50 years. That's a little ton of time. And you need to keep that history alive in this town. It's disappearing. You need to keep the history of Keyport alive. And the names of some of the families that have been there for so long, you need to keep that alive because that's part of Keyport. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. Do we want to open to the public? Motion to open.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody from John? John, you're first today.
John Morello, 34 Broad Street. Just something Councilwoman Vecchio said and Councilwoman McNamara. Councilwoman Vecchio, you said that there might be something planned for the National Addiction Day on August 31st. Are we doing anything?
They were looking to see what would be better to do it actually on the 31st, which is a Thursday, or if they were going to do something on the weekend instead. They were going to make that decision soon.
Okay. Because other towns have done stuff already. I know we didn't put up flags this year, the purple flags, but I know there's residents that can do that. So if the flags are available,
I believe they are.
well, I would love to help you do that because I have several parents in town that have notified and asked me why the flags weren't on the waterfront, and I told them I didn't know. But with that said, anybody can put a purple flag on their lawn,
Or
any
in
flag
business,
they want.
too.
Yes, and business. So I would appreciate that if you can help me out on that. Councilwoman McNamara, you said about the, I attended the last KBBC meeting and it was discussed about the steps. And I noted tonight that you did say in the mini park that they're in bad shape. Those steps are set in pins and they're actually glued. That's how they do those. And I went and looked at them personally. They are in bad shape, so I wouldn't delay. And the borough has two choices, and I brought this up at the KBBC meeting. We have an open space municipal tax that we have, that the funds can be used legally to do that, and we have a Brit account, and the funds can be used for that. So I think as the head of the finance chair, maybe you could look to tomorrow and see if there's funds available, and we should move forward because it is a problem. They're in bad shape. Couple questions regarding the resolutions. I also had some concern about Labor Council, and maybe the BA can answer this. 6 grievances in this year, or did that go back?
I could say they went back from last year.
Oh, okay.
I don't personally have any yet.
Right, okay, that's, because that's awful strange. I mean, they had to go back a while, all right. And the cannabis increase in the amount for the cannabis. I just think, honestly, this is a lot of money. This is a lot of money for our small community, and it's a lot of, I know there's been, if you look at last year's legal account versus this year's legal account in the budget, and there's so much money being utilized for this cannabis litigation, and, delay means money, money, money. And I think we have to really, sooner or later.
John, I talked with Tom Fallon on it, and right now, we're at $40,000 in legal fees with cannabis, correct? Since last year.
I don't.
About $39,000 and change. And what we've brought in as an income is what, 40? So, I mean, there's no money coming in after this until this is resolved.
Understood. Resolution 257, the 5-year tax abatement for 5 Teresa. Just a question, maybe for the attorney. What happens if that home is sold within that 5-year period? Does the tax abatement continue?
No,
No, because the resolution doesn't say that.
no, I mean, I'll check on it
Okay.
in terms of what is in the document given to the...
So it's not a grandfathered thing.
It shouldn't be, no.
And the appointment of the full-time laborer, the resolution didn't have the salary for the public works. Do we know that what the salary is?
We do.
895.
What is it?
895.
No, for the laborer?
Oh, no.
Say, oh, okay.
Wait, what did it stop?
John, what was the resolution?
271.
Okay. I didn't think I saw
It was per the CBA and step one.
All
It
right,
was in
so
the 30s.
He's actually the one that's been.
Actually,
on
that
as
was one of my
A
issues.
seasonal.
Yeah, right, it was a seasonal that was working full.
Correct.
And you answered my second question, the public works director is 89.5?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Superintendent.
Superintendent. Thank you.
Okay. George?
George Wallen, 54 2nd Street. In regards to what John mentioned in 257, which is the 5-year tax abatement, one of the houses did sell over on Myrtle, and I checked with the tax assessor, and it does get carried for the full 5 years.
All right, I'll check on it for you.
Yeah. And 272, do we have a name of who we were hiring?
For the DPW superintendent.
Yeah.
The
Can we-
name actually.
Can we find out who it is?
Yes. Hold on.
William King.
Yes. It is going to be, was it William Kane?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
William Kane.
William Kane? Okay, thank you. Let's go back to 257 again, please. The tax assessor used to give us a report along with the resolution. Anybody know why that stopped?
I believe that the council does get a report.
It's not attached to the agenda.
It's to the council, it's to the mayor and council.
We have the exemption for him.
Transparency? That'd be nice to know.
Is there particular information you're looking for, Mr. Wallen?
Yeah. That information, that's what
Oh, the
I'm
whole
looking for.
sheet, oh, right,
Yeah.
but there was a number or something to look at.
Yeah, no, just for a clarification of what it is.
Mhm.
Because you're dealing with different price range of the homes and everything too. So I'd be curious to find out. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, George. Anybody else? Elmer?
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Borough Council. Good evening, Chief and Administrator. Okay. Resolution 258 with the extension of lease agreement for Francis Street. Can you all explain that? What's that about there?
That's extending the lease for the DPW, the Public Works Building on Francis Street.
Okay.
And that's a 3-year, if I'm not mistaken. It's 3 years, and there's different amounts for each year, going up slightly each year. And we actually have an exit clause in case we need to get out of it, because in my opinion, and I think that most of the council, borough administrator also, is that we've been paying way too much as a lease. It's time to look to either buy or build. So we've actually put it for 2 years from now, that we can put it in the budget for that, hopefully.
Oh, okay. All right, a couple of other things. On 257, Resolution 257, why do we need a 5-year tax abatement for that?
That's a new bill.
It's an ordinance.
Yeah, it's one of our ordinances.
That's an ordinance and stuff. Okay, and one last thing. Let's see, the Harbor Commission bylaws. I'll address this to you, Councilwoman Vecchio.
Sure, I already got them.
Why in the Sam heck did it take so long to get bylaws to the Harbor Commission?
That part I can't answer for you, but I could tell you they are ecstatic that they're actually
Yeah.
getting them. They were unanimously ecstatic last night about this.
I mean, normally a commission or a committee has bylaws to
Yep.
get a
That's why
direction
we're so
here.
excited.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Anybody else? Angie?
We need both there?
You gotta come up here.
Okay.
Yeah, she's gotta come. Oh, she does. Yeah.
She can come out here.
Yeah,
Right, Angie, just talk about
yeah.
I can bring them.
Alright. Angie, we need your address and your name and address.
Come just forward a little bit, Angie. Just about 3 feet, hon.
Hi, Johnny.
Right here.
Hi, Johnny.
You're good. You're good.
Good girl.
Right here, Angie. Hold on a second, right here. You got it.
Oh,
All right?
okay.
You got it.
Poke
You're
my
on.
out there.
You're live.
My name's,
Shannon.
Hey. My name's Angie Palazzotto. I live at 71 Broad Street, Apartment 2, Keyport, New Jersey, 7735. I wanted to say that it was great to see the Fireman's Fair again. I struggled a lot with going down there. I contacted lots of people in my contacts. I contacted the state sensory service providers, and there were no takers to help me go down to the fair and enjoy that. I went down, I was afraid, and I said I can't live my life in fear. I never have, I'm not going to start now. So I went down, and unfortunately there wasn't anybody there that could give me a little time to go through the fair, find the exhibits. I did try to do it myself, but seems to me my dog ran into a few people. Asked them what they were checking out. I got no responses, and then I happened to come across a police officer, and everybody was very courteous and polite. They just, the police officer explained what the sergeant had explained to me. I said, not a problem, you know. They were needed to keep an eye on everybody, make sure everything was safe, and I was cool with that. We went over to one of the firemen who was working there, and he said this was the first time they've ever been asked to do this. He didn't know what to say, what to do, or anything. So the police officer took us back over to the rescue squad, let them know we were okay. And they gave me a volunteer, but if they got a call, they needed to leave, and I understood that. And they did get a call, and since I didn't know how to get out of the area, the rescue squad employee volunteer helped me to get off the fairgrounds up to my sub shop. And I made a phone call, and someone came up to me as at a safe distance. They were probably 3 or 4 feet away. Asked me what I wanted to do at the fair, and I volunteered to take my dog and I onto the fairgrounds. And her name is Tracy, and she's from Union Beach, and she's our first aid chief. I don't ever want this to happen to anyone ever again that walks onto those fairgrounds and is told, sorry, we can't help you. We have no one. If I was a different color, it would be discrimination. But this is a family. This whole town, I'm part of this town, we're a family. So I bring it here for family, to take care of family. Not just me, but I know of 2 other blind, hearing impaired people that live in this town. I'm not connected to them personally, but I do know that they're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Angie, just so that you know, after you called me, I sent an email to the fire chief, the chiefs, as well as our business administrator, to see what we can do, somebody there, or what we can do. And hopefully there is something that we can do. I know that years ago, we used to open the fair a little bit earlier, so that anybody that had to come down, they can come down earlier. We had some of our seniors also, because when the fair gets so crowded down there, it's hard to maneuver around there.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping that by next year, maybe during the fair committee, they can discuss something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't have any problems making arrangements with anybody ahead of time.
Right.
I'm very open and I understand and I love this town.
Thank you.
I've been involved with this town since I was a little kid. I got my first bike at a JJ Newberry's.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Angie.
there'll be a debriefing meeting with the fire department for the fair. I'll make sure that we address any accommodations for any other borough events in the upcoming fair.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Andrew?
Andrew Kelsey, 29 St. Peter's Place. I know this isn't quite, it's not an agenda topic, but since she came up and brought it up, it's probably a good idea to have this part of the normal checklist of things for all the events. Whether, you know, we need to just have a couple people dedicated to that on council or volunteers in town, it sounds like a good idea. It's certainly a spot that, you know, obviously, you know, there are people in need, and it doesn't seem like it's a big ask, you know,
It's not.
just to have it up front so everybody knows what's going on and needs to be thought of. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah.
We will next year, absolutely. But I think what had happened, there's a little miscommunication, she was with a young first aid member who does want to be a police officer. He was saying that. He wasn't with a police officer, but I think the young first aid member was eager to walk her around, but then kind of lost track of and went to a call. And that shouldn't have been, I mean, next year arrangements have to be made ahead of time, I agree.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing anything. I just think it's just part of.
No, I don't think you are.
It's
I
just
don't
part
think
of
you are.
like,
Just
you know,
want to
getting into the
even
list
for
of
Angie.
things. Hey,
Right.
this is something we need to think about. How can we
Part of all the
offer
events,
this?
not just the-
Yeah, no, I did not
Yeah,
think
okay.
that. I just wanted to clarify
Okay.
that we did think that she was being walked around, and she was, but then the first aid, the young member went to a call, and I think kind of left
Yeah.
in a hurry.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's
no.
definitely something we need to address next year.
Yeah, he did walk us, me and the dog around. I knew ahead of time if they got a call, he had to go.
Yeah, we'll
And I told
definitely
them-
address it next year, Angie, for
Go
sure,
take
and
the call. I
somebody
understand.
will be with you the whole time.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Anybody else? Mike?
Michael Lane, 51 First Street, Keyport. Good evening, Mayor, member of councils. Regarding resolution 2023-261, approving the Harbor Commission bylaws. It states in the first paragraph that this is to manage, operate, and control of the harbor. Where is the harbor? Where's the definition of the harbor? Where's the delineation of the harbor?
Mike, as they said to you last night, the part where it says waterfront owned and leased by the borough. This was the same conversation we had last night.
I'm in 100% agreement
Mhm.
that that's the only thing the Harbor Commission can control. But that's not what this ordinance says. And
But I'm reading you from the bylaws, what it says. That's the exact wording in the bylaws.
No, the-
Waterfront owned and leased by the borough.
no, if you read before that, it's to manage, operate, and control of the harbor and the waterfront.
Which,
Oh, the
but it
leased by-
says owned and leased by the borough, so whatever's owned and leased by the borough, I think that's what we're trying to get at. It
Yeah.
has that line in there where operation and control of the harbor and waterfront owned or leased by the borough.
What I'm suggesting is you remove the word harbor, because there's no delineation of the harbor.
And just to reiterate again, when this came up last night, the Harbor Commission was adamant that it should be exactly as written. And if legal had agreed to it, which Vicki said it was fine, that's what they wanted as
Yeah,
well.
and Mr. Lane, I think I understand the academic, purpose behind the question. However, let's remember, we also have to refer back to the Borough Code, which defines the Harbor Commission. There's a whole chapter on them.
Right.
So these bylaws are not intended to supplement or, well, they're intended to supplement that. They are allowed by the Borough Code, which they haven't done, as has been pointed out, and now they are doing, which they're ecstatic to, which I love that they're excited about bylaws. I mean, that's a real big takeaway. I've never walked away from a meeting people excited about bylaws. But the Harbor Commission is what's defined and established by this borough in its Borough Code. And these bylaws are just referring to it as such.
I'm excited about the bylaws too. But
I've never seen something so
I will share with you that 25 plus years ago, I worked with John Olson and became very aware that any part of the harbor that's on the seaward side of the mean high water line is controlled by the state, not by the Harbor Commission. And you can't put in race marks, you can't put in no wake buoys, you can't enforce any speed limit, you can't put a mooring field in. That's all done through the state. The Yacht Club has an arrangement with the state for the mooring field. All of the piers on the water side of the mean high water line are controlled by the state. My pier, I have an agreement with the state, I pay a yearly rental fee. Same thing with the Keyport Harbor Pier. My mooring, I had to go through the Yacht Club to have a location for my mooring because they defined and delineated and managed the mooring definition in the harbor. So I'm trying to point out, I think that the ordinance is superb. Remove the word harbor. Remove the word harbor, because there's no delineation of the harbor and there's no control of the harbor except by the state of New Jersey. Second, there's an item in here that says if a boat sinks or becomes disabled, etc., in the Harbor Commission can deal with that. And that's not true either. And so, again, that phase has the word harbor. The Harbor Commission can deal with and did deal with the boats that came up on Beach Park. The boats that came up on the back of my house and through my pier, I dealt with the Yacht Club. The Yacht Club, who handles the mooring field, came over and gave tremendous support and helped make the arrangements to get the boats removed. And so what I'm pointing out is there's no definition of the harbor, and the statement that it's going to manage and control the harbor is not a fact. It cannot be done. But you can manage and control the waterfront that's owned and leased by the borough. And there's three sentences in this resolution that have the word harbor. And they're invalid. And I ask you, I applaud the committee working the bylaws. I've shared with this before. And there's no delineation of the harbor, and the Harbor Commission has no power on the water side of the mean high water line. All the regulations and controls and permits, everything are done by the state. Thank you. Please take that word out.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else? Do we have a motion to close?
Okay.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve R 2023-242 through R 2023-272?
Oh.
Second.
Michelle, roll call please.
Councilmember Demarest.
Yes.
Councilmember Riley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
And Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a public hearing, adoption of ordinances. Michelle, would you read the ordinance by title?
This is an ordinance of the Borough of Keyport, County of Monmouth, New Jersey, amending sections of Chapter 6 entitled Alcoholic Beverage Control of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Keyport.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have anybody, John?
Yes, just one quick question. John Morello, 34 Broad Street. Vicki, this ordinance, does it pertain to all liquor establishments? Because it doesn't include club licenses or brewery. Which the change in the ordinance could affect those.
I mean, I think.
It's
I
just
thought
a-
it did, I thought it said
I thought it
maker.
did,
I
yeah.
think it says maker, so that would be a
I thought it
brewery.
applied to all, that was my intention, now
It
I'm reading
doesn't,
it.
no.
No, it doesn't.
So then we should.
Well, we get adopted and then we,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
So I
John.
think the intent was.
It might,
Maker, huh?
I thought it said maker.
it did seem,
Isn't that considered a brewery?
it's probably not.
Building on what Mr. Murillo talked about, club licenses are very unique. The club license allows a member of the club to have guests come in and to, for example, if I race my boat, after the evening of racing, I have half a dozen people who are not club members. I can go and get a liquor bottle from the club, and go over to the table with a half dozen glasses and serve those members. If you read the club license, it's very clear that you can have parties and the member of the club can make arrangements for all the liquor, etc. And so I think you would be violating the perception of what the club license allows by saying this applies to clubs.
Anybody else? Do you have a motion to close
Well,
to the public?
let me just add, so
Wait,
if I buy a bottle of wine and for my crew and walk over to the crew table, am I a server?
yeah, go ahead.
Huh?
I can address that. It does not include, you're completely correct, Mr. Lean, and your interpretation of it is completely correct. I'm with you on that. That's why we did not include club licensing in this ordinance at this point. We're not ready to address that yet. We are moving in a positive direction with the ABC, and in my update, I'll address part of what we did with the ordinance to try to get it into compliance with the ABC handbook.
Shauna,
But
I
you
looked
are
at
right.
the
Shannon,
ABCC
Shannon.
handbook and we're in complete agreement.
Look, I'm not Shauna, Shauna's record.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who is that?
Chief Torres.
I'm sorry, Chief.
Okay,
That's terrible. I apologize.
it's not terrible, it's fine.
No, it's not.
It's okay. Thank you, Mr. Lane.
Okay, do we have a motion to close to the public?
Thank you, Mr. Wally.
All in favor?
I work for my attorney tomorrow.
All in favor? Do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion.
We're gonna change it after.
Yeah, change it up.
Just so we're all clear, I asked for whether or not we wanted to change it now, and right now we needed to keep it at this level first.
Okay.
And then we'll build on it, so we're good.
Okay, so, aye.
No, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, now I need a roll call. Michelle?
Councilmember Deborah.
Yes.
Councilmember Riley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
And Councilmember McNamara.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a motion authorizing the clerk to publish the ordinance as adopted?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next one is the ordinance amending chapter 23 Board of Health regulations. Michelle, will you read the ordinance by title?
This is an ordinance of the Borough of Keyport, County of Monmouth, New Jersey, amending sections of Chapter 23 entitled Board of Health Regulations of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Keyport. Excuse me.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? Elmer?
Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. As far as amending this, why does this need to be amended? What's the explanation?
Because it didn't include permanent makeup or microblading, which is something new to the borough. It's a new type of business that we've
Okay.
never had. Tattoos are considered something different. So we've added additional licenses, additional into the ordinance that we can have them for our town.
Oh, okay.
Right? As you know, many people do have cancer, and
Yes.
you know, it actually helps the people with cancer because it gives them the makeup on their, you know, their eyebrows as well as, you know, some lips and eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Any questions? Yep. I was kind of, my eyes were going batty with this packet. So, I tried looking through the ordinance that was in the packet for the body art and all that. And I know that what we had, was 3, and we said we were gonna increase it, but I couldn't find where in here that was. Does anybody know what the number was that we increased it to? Because it wasn't just doing the
Yeah,
body
we
art.
increased it
So
by
from 3 to
2.
5?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't find things.
Okay, do we have a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a motion to, Chris? did you? No.
I'm glad.
Okay. Motion, motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion. Second.
Michelle, roll call please.
Councilmember Demarest.
Yes.
Councilmember Riley.
Yes.
Councilmember Vecchio.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
And Councilmember McNamara.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a motion authorizing the clerk to publish the ordinance as adopted?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes for approval, regular meeting minutes, May 2nd, May 16th, July 18th of 2023, special meeting minutes of July 5th, 2023. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to abstain.
Okay. You're abstaining from them all, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
honestly did not get a chance to
Okay,
review
that's
myself.
fine. Just so that I know. Okay. Reports, municipal clerk's report for July 2023, tax board of sewer collectors report July 2023, Board of Health treasurer's report July 2023, building department report July 2023, municipal court report July 2023. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Nothing on here for new business, unfinished business. I know that we're working on a list to put on there. Dais updates, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Attended a Chiefs Executive Board meeting where select chiefs from the county get together and prepare an agenda for our county chiefs meeting. We discussed ongoing legal issues and countywide policy and community policing events. We developed ways to engage the communities within our county. We held a pre-event meeting with police administrative staff to prepare for the Fireman's Fair. I attended the county chiefs meeting where we discussed training, certain available training from the American Crime Prevention Team. Our chiefs meetings serve as tools to examine county law enforcement activity together and improve the efficiency and responsiveness as a cohesive county unit through each individual department communications. These monthly meetings provide outstanding amounts of information and resource and are attended by representatives from the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, FBI, and New Jersey State Police, as well as County Prosecutor's Office. We discussed sharing with our community program from the New Jersey State Police. New Jersey State Police has a program called The Club. This was in effect a long time ago, but they're bringing it back. It's a theft prevention program for vehicles. It's a visual deterrent that alerts potential thieves that the vehicle is protected. The program is free and available to all New Jersey residents. You can find more information about the program on the official website of the New Jersey State Police. We completed our efforts to be compliant with MELGIF training assigned by our borough administrator. 50 employees from the police department were onboarded and completed the training. Keyport Police active shooter instructor was sent to conduct Bayshore active shooter training at St. John Vianney High School along with Homedale Police Department. We completed 2 days of weapons familiarization and training held by the Keyport Police Department Firearms Unit. Attended a New Jersey State Police State Stat Firearms meeting held by the New Jersey Regional Operations and Intelligence Center. The CCW portal for concealed carry permits is now live. Each department has to be up and running on the portal. Sign-ins and training is now complete. I participated and spoke at a county-wide community engagement event where a group of children toured the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, and then headed back to a barbecue in Red Bank with Pastor Porter and some select chiefs that spoke at it. Keyport Police issued and processed over 25 ABC cards. ABC requires each bar to keep an updated employee list. Keyport Ordinance 6-73 required identification cards for all employees personally engaged in the sale, mixing, processing, or preparation of alcoholic beverages. We recommended updates to this rule to comply with the ABC handbook. We spoke about this in our workshop meeting. The ABC unit noted several small discrepancies between the ABC book and our borough ordinance. It was a really productive workshop meeting that we had discussing this. Keyport Police processed over 60 expungements. To process one expungement, it just should be noted that the officer must search the name or names, including maiden names, particular cases, to be expunged in all data systems, Spillman, as well as old CAD records and Detective Bureau cases. All records found must be partitioned. They must then read each narrative of each report and pull the names. So it's just a lot of work on each expungement, and we processed over 60. These reports are sealed so that only certain authorized people have access to those records. Once the expungement is done, the officer goes back into New Jersey courts and confirms this was done, and we maintain a copy of the expungement records. The court has their own system that they do separately as well. This is a very time-consuming process. Keyport Police participated in a narcotics search warrant. Met with the borough administrator in reference to Keyport parking lots and some inconsistencies. We put together a team to assess the issue, and then we developed a comprehensive report of all the parking lots in the Keyport borough. We presented it to the borough administrator, and thank you, Andrew, because you had previously developed a really comprehensive report that was really well put together. We interviewed and processed 23 concealed carry permits to date, and we processed 31 applications for firearms ID cards. We prepared and put in our internal affairs quarterly reports, as well as our concealed carry monthly reports. And we reviewed operations plans and met with admin for several upcoming events. We are beginning the process of accepting applications for CO2s as well as crossing guards. If you know anyone, please have them send in an application to Keyport Police, or Denise can take them as well. During our workshop meeting, we were able to discuss and move forward with several ordinances that are needed. As I said before, it was just a very productive meeting. There were several ordinances that came to light and that were discussed. We were all able to give our input. It was just a great meeting, and you'll see some really great ordinances coming out of it. We're putting together our AYF football season requests and Fair Week. Last but not least, Fair Week is now complete. Total number of calls for service was 78, and that's just during the fair hours, meaning Tuesday through Saturday, 7 p.m. till approximately 11:30 p.m. I'm sorry, that was not last. This is last. We're preparing now for a meeting with the prosecutor's office to put together a T&U Visa community event. Keyport, Red Bank, and Freehold were chosen by the prosecutor's office to host this event. It will be on September 30th, 2023. This event will be held in 3 municipalities that were chosen. The New Jersey State Bar Association will supply speakers for the event to discuss what the visas are, and will have a list of attorneys willing to volunteer for a free consultation to those that attend. In addition, Prosecutor Santiago has reached out to community organizations that provide free services to those that may need such services or can be a referral source for future encounters. We will hold our first meeting tomorrow to put together the logistics. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. That was a really great.
Long?
No, it was good. It was right there. Thank you. Joe?
I have a report as well. Good evening, Mayor, Council. It won't be as long, but it will be hopefully thorough. And give everyone an update that they're looking for. So what I have here is an active report. I know it's in the middle of August, based on the workshop schedule. This is through the end of July 2023. So active engineering projects throughout the borough. New Jersey Natural Gas finished their paving on Church Street. I'm following up with Xavier to make sure there's no punch list items and make sure that gets the project closed out. I was happy to see that looked like the majority of the work was done pretty well. As far as the municipal building water damage project, that architectural services was approved tonight through resolution 2023-254. So we will coordinate with the architect moving forward and track that progress on behalf of the borough. MPP Mini Park project, I met with Nicole 2 weeks ago and provided a report to her on guidance and recommendations of standard construction practices. My understanding is that program is using state contract. So based on my experience with state contracts, I gave a list of recommendations of what she should look out for in terms of bringing that contract to fruition, such as bonding and some other things that will protect the borough in the long run. Keyport Well Survey, that was a assistance to the DPW that was to stay compliant with NJDEP. That information was provided through the help of the water operator in the month of July. And as far as active capital projects that were being handled previously by CME, the NJDEP TAP grant, that design is still to be completed this fall. The project will go out to bid at the same time. DOT MA Church Street project, final closeout is anticipated this month. CDBG Broad Street Sidewalk project closeout is also expected this month. NJDOT MA improvements to Butler and East 3rd Streets. Anticipate completion from this one is the end of the year. And Fulton 7th and 8th Street, that project, we're looking to have the surface course installed in late August 2023 with project closeout to follow. So we'll track that one as we get closer to that one actually happening and make sure there's no impacts to Labor Day or anything like that. Cedar Street Park, survey work was completed, preliminary design was started. Anticipated schedule is that the play structure is to be placed in 2023, but the overall park construction will take place next year in 2024. And with that, as mentioned earlier in the meeting, me, the BA, and DPW are meeting with Monmouth County this coming week. So there's a list of items that we're tracking that we're looking to provide guidance at next month's meeting and give an update on those projects from the county's point of view.
I'd like to have that one Maple Place on there, with that bridge. Because
I did the draft agenda today, so I made a note. We're going to add it to it. I got about 9 or 10 items.
Thank you.
So.
On the 3rd Street project, I actually received a call from a resident regarding there's no lights down there. So I don't know if you can take a look down there to see, because they said that a lot of people go down towards the end and it's very dark. And it's similar to the 2nd Street. I know that on 2nd Street we had discussed it's what, $55,000 for just pole light. So if you can take a look at that also. Thank you. Okay, Do we have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Oh, wait, before I go, do you have anything? I don't think so. Kim?
What?
Do you have anything?
Nothing too much, just I'll be
I almost
absolutely.
missed you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just quickly, I have sent out to some departments, I'll be putting together narratives for each position that's held in the borough, as well as I would like their job duties, what their procedures are each day, and I'm gonna come up with a binder that there is a continuity in government. If anyone was out of work, we would be able to function without that person. So I gave a deadline to certain employees. I've begun evaluations for department heads. I also have asked department heads to do evaluations on their employees as well. If there is someone that is a department head, I have them self-evaluating themselves. That's usually how I'll do it, and we'll meet. We have the personnel policy that has went out. Everyone has signed it, gotten back the signature that they have received it, so we are compliant with the JIF. There was an issue with a toilet in the police department in the locker room. It actually exploded. It was a recall. We did put an insurance claim in, and that will be remediated through the insurance company. I'm working on that as of.
It really did explode.
It literally exploded.
So bad.
Yeah,
I've
so.
never seen anything like that.
Yeah, so luckily no one was in the restroom at that time.
What caused it?
There's a recall for the pump. The mechanism inside does not work correctly, and it's got a force valve, and it just, yeah, it just crashed through the porcelain, it exploded. There was major damage throughout the basement. They're going to do a 4-foot cut and replace a lot of the sheetrock. We've lost some, supplies and equipment, but that is an insurance claim that we are putting through. The code department, they're out there. They're doing a lot of work. I think in the time that I've been here, there's been over 70 violations that have been issued and handled through the code department. They are having a problem with accessory structures, sheds, garages, and they're still tackling that with the deficiencies and addressing that with the property owners. Overgrown grass and weeds, that's an issue. If the residents could just, do the maintenance on their properties, that would make it a lot easier. And they also they have addressed with Stop and Shop that they'll be cleaning up the property, because I don't know if anyone's been around. It's not always as tidy as what it should be. So we're addressing that issue as well. And the TAP grant, that is, I'll have a meeting at the end of August, and then we'll go over the bid documents. It is a federal grant, so the bid documents are quite intense. And that's about it.
I have a question. For Maple Place, the lights, I know that Mr. Merrill
yeah.
had addressed that.
So Maple Place, it seems as though the meter was pulled. I'm not sure why yet. We're looking into it with JCP&L. So we have to create a new account and put a meter in. I just don't know if it was never metered and they realized it, pulled the meter out, but that's why there's no lighting there. So we're in the process of getting that up and running.
Do we have a motion to open to the public?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? John?
John Merle, 34 Broad Street. I was the one that brought up about the lights on Maple Place, and I had a discussion with Kim. The lights in December for Christmas, there were in front of the Mexican restaurant. There was a string of lights onto the pole, so it worked in December. But what really is frustrating is from December to now, nobody spotted those lights out. I mean, it's hard to believe, it really is. The Public Works Superintendent, that job description, is that going to be online? Because
It goes right from civil service.
yeah, no, because when it was advertised, are we using the same specifications, same job description? We are. Okay, and he's non-union, am I right? He's a department head?
It's an exempt employee.
Okay. One question for you, it's been brought up before, the new development on First and Walnut, where the well wasn't driven down far enough and rust had taken over the project. Is there any update?
Hi.
I actually am working with the construction official and DPW, and we'll have more information.
So it's fair to say then none of those units will be able to be sold till that issue is rectified?
I don't know where they're at with their inspection. I don't have to say with that. That would be-
Well, they're listed for sale, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
And, you know, if someone gets a C of O or they close out a project, that's why you have escrow, that's why you have developers agreements.
We didn't close that out yet, did we?
No.
Yeah, that's why we're meeting about it.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Anybody else? Mike?
Mike Lane, to add to what John Morello just mentioned, if you go down to the project at the corner of First and Walnut, 333 First, and you go down Walnut, and I did it about 2 weeks ago, the grass was knee-high. So there's a maintenance problem already on a couple of the units. The units that front on Walnut Street. Now, on February 27th, the Keyport Unified Planning Board sent a letter to Mayor and Council regarding a need to update the land use requirements of the Borough of Keyport for two issues. One, that the maximum density requirements that are defined in the master plan need to be also need to be stated in land use requirements, just as the maximum density for multifamily is stated in the land use requirements. That's a gap. And the second gap is that there's an inconsistency between the first half of the document, which was updated by Ms. Miller before she was let go, and the second half of the land use requirements, which haven't been updated since probably 1990. And that the planning board documented to the council and mayor that needs to be fixed. So what has to happen to get that to happen?
Were we workshopping that?
Yes, that's correct.
Pardon?
Sorry.
The council plans to workshop that item.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Second is, Borough Engineer, you mentioned the TAP project?
The TAP project, yes.
Yeah. Is that the project to put crosswalks on First Street?
Yes.
Yeah, it's First Street, West Front Street, and Broadway. So
All right,
it's being rebuilt.
and the timeline for that now is?
It's a very long process to deal with the DOT TAP, but my understanding per CME is, from Trevor, is that fall is the anticipated bid cycle, so likely construction in the spring. But they do have to advertise and bid the project through the Brooks Act, which is not your traditional public bidding law, where it's just 3 weeks on the street. So there's a whole cycle in the process, and sometimes I'm dealing with another TAP project in another town where they hired another consultant to handle that. So
Are you aware? It must be 7 years ago.
I'm dealing with one in another town from 2016.
Unbelievable.
So I'm well aware.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that project. It may give me hope to be able to cross First Street. course, you may not want me to cross First Street.
Don't worry, I'll help you.
Pardon?
I'll help you, don't worry, I got a dog.
I'm sorry, the cars go too fast.
I've got a blind stick too, you can use.
Oh, I think it's great that you're going to be engaging the county.
Yes.
And there's some real effort that we need from the county, especially for the Henry Hudson Trail.
Yes, I understand the survey was completed and Parks Department should be doing, so the goal is gonna be, this is what you said you were gonna do, where are we at, and what is the priority, and what is, because I know sometimes the county has their own rules and regulations of when they do certain activities, so I'm just trying to get my feet wet and figure out what they expect to do and hope to report back on that.
The past history has been that the parallel to the trail is a floodway on the county property. And that floodway drains, right now, if you get on the Henry Hudson Trail up by Broad and go to Green Grove, to go to Manchester. The trail has been pretty well maintained and there's good water flow. But once you get to Manchester, from Manchester to Green Grove, it's totally overgrown and there's no water flow. So it forces all the water through a pipe under the Henry Hudson Trail that floods East 3rd and East 5th Street. And we've had some pretty serious flooding and damage from that.
I'll bring it up with the county.
Just so you know, also, I've been working with the, one of the supervisors with the county, about overgrown areas, that are along the trail, and where county and borough land, meet up together. So, we're actually already working on that.
And you're gonna continue down
Yes.
past the place, because they always stop at Maple.
Yeah, but we'll also bring it up.
Yeah, but the really significant issue is to get the floodway working again, so the flood waters go all the way to Chingleborough Creek from Broad.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody else? Motion to close the
Okay.
public. All in favor?
Oh, wait,
Whoa, whoa.
Can I come up?
Nope.
Yeah. I was waiting on some more people to speak, but oh.
We all care about you, Elmer.
Thank you. Elmer J. Graham Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. A few things. I know I plugged this before, I'm gonna plug it again.
I think we all care tonight.
Yeah, we care, don't care.
We care.
We care, don't care. I've been going there twice a week and excellent place, outstanding staff. People there are outstanding, they're second to none. And for any caregivers who need a break or for anyone, for their loved one who has Alzheimer's or whatever, that's the place to go. And they have a Facebook page and I would highly recommend them. Anyway, having said that, I'm also a member of Keepwood American Legion, Raritan Post 23. They're looking for more veterans to join the American Legion Post, especially Keepwood veterans. If you know of any, that's the post to
Can you do
join.
me a favor? Can you tell them that they should have a table at the I Love Keyport Day? Because that would be the time to have people registered. They may not know about it.
Okay.
I think that would be nice for them to have.
Their next meeting's the first Thursday of next month.
Okay,
And-
that's before the 9th, right? Yeah, so that would be nice.
Okay, which I'm gonna be formally sworn in.
Even if they want to do it outside
Remember.
of their building, have a table there, so that they can register anybody that wants, because there's going to be a lot of people wandering through Keyport that day. That's September 9th.
Okay. And one last thing, as far as, what's the latest on finally getting this roof fixed on, leaking roof fixed on Borough Hall? What's the
That's what
latest
we're
on
working
that?
on now, that's what the resolution was tonight for the architect.
Okay.
Just started.
Yeah, the toilet thing, yeah, right. The toilet, okay. All right, thank you.
We have motion to close the public?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're actually gonna go into executive session. Are we coming out with,
Yeah, we're gonna try that.
no action?
No action.
No action.
Thank you. Everyone else?
No
Take it
down. You're out. Get out.
Very much.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye. All right, we're in close.
Thank you, everybody.